Hallelujah. You may be seated. This is a special day because it's Father's Day. But it's especially a great day for me because this time last year my dad was in rehab. And I could only see him through a window, talk to him through a window. So this year is very special that my dad is here. And the work that God did in his life. And so I know and I appreciate all the other fathers that are here today. But there's something my dad loves to do. I'm sorry, I don't want to make you mad, but dumb jokes. Some of them, my kids call him corn. And I've noticed Brother Farney's joined in on this thing. So I've heard several of his. He's probably got a book full of them. So, I just wanted the first part of this. I wanted to make my dad feel at home. And so I was looking up. Thank God for Google. Man, you can find anything on Google. And so I was looking up, and so here we go. These are really stupid jokes, but they're very funny. It says, why do some couples go to the gym? Anybody got any ideas? Nobody? Because they want their relationship to work out. Come on. Boo. Why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use the honeycomb. I know, these are awesome. My wife asked me to go to get 6 cans of Sprite from the grocery store. I realized when I go at home that I picked 7 Up. Get that? That one was that was good, yeah. What did Tennessee? Now you're really going to have to think about this. And what did Tennessee? Anybody? Same as Arkansas. What do you call a naughty lamb dressed up like a skeleton for Halloween? Bad to the bone. How am I doing, Dad? All right, the last one. We'll have to stop with this one. What do you call a pudgy psychic? A fortune teller. A fortune teller. Fortune. All right, that should have been the first one. I thought that was pretty good myself. All right, Dad, that's for you, Daddy. You can't use those again, though. I've patented those. You look at definition of a father. Now, I want you to listen to this. One definition of a father, it says, a man in relationship to his child or children. Definition of a dad. A male parental figure that is present and participating in a child's life. Do you see that difference between the meanings? A father is one that produces a child. That's about all. But a dad participates in every part of the child's life. The problem with, I think, the world today is we have too many fathers and not enough dads. Too many fathers and not enough dads. Someone wrote to dear Annie, a columnist. You remember those columnists they had? There was another, what was that other lady in here had a, Dear Abby, yeah. Dear Ann's a columnist, and somebody wrote in and said there's a big difference between what makes a father and a dad. This is what she said. A father is someone who believes that by donating sperm for creation, he has done his duty in life. That's all it says about it. But a dad, listen to this, is someone who gets up every day and does whatever he can do to put a roof over your head, clothes on your feet, clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, and food on your table. That's a dad. It goes on to say he might have to dig some ditches, flip some hamburgers, deliver some pizzas, work in a factory, or maybe all the above. That's a dad. He might not own a suit and tie, but he teaches the value of hard work, not because he's looking for help mowing, listen, but because he knows idleness leads to trouble. And he realizes his job is to make his children productive citizens and to do what they can. Here's what I tell my children. He can't always be their friend. Sometimes he has to step up and be a dad and make those decisions and do those disciplines. I remember with my kids, I hated, my dad and mom always said, this hurts me more than it does you. Really? I'm the one on the end of the stick, not you. How can that be true? And I always thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life until I come up and had kids. I remember several years ago, my girls, I can't even remember what started it. But I come home and Mama said, those girls have been, I said, okay. So I went upstairs to the room. They were upstairs in their room. And I had to give them the father talk. And then I broke out Angel, which was a ping pong paddle that had Angel on it. And I had to do that thing that this hurts me worse than it. And I said that to them. This hurts me worse than it does you. And I'm sure they were thinking the same thing I did. How's that? You know what? I think that was the only time I had to swat their backsides. I'm getting ahead of myself, but you do it once or twice, and they understand it. You're not going to have to do it too many more times. That's free. In Malachi 4:6, it says, and he shall turn the hearts of the father to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And I believe if there's ever a time that this needs to happen, it's now. You know, there's a saying that says the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that controls the world. And it's talking about the mothers. And we have to have mothers. They are important in the child's life. I've seen how important my wife has been in my kid's life. But I suggest to you that the reason this world and the reason, listen, the church is in the condition it is because of our fathers. Hang on. Fathers who don't have their hearts turned to their children. Fathers who have never put their arms around their children and told them that he loves them. Fathers who have never showed their emotion in front of their children. Fathers who have never taken their children to church or went to church with them. Fathers who have walked out on the families. Fathers who have never led their children in prayer or never prayed for them. Fathers who have time for everything else in their life but their kids. That's what's the problem with the world today. I've seen when all these things broke out, all this rioting and stuff, early on there was one mother who got very angry when she saw her child participating in the rioting, and she went down there and basically grabbed him by the nape of the neck and took him home. She shouldn't have had to do that. Where was the father at this time? According to Lifeway Research Group, Father's Day is a holiday with the single lowest average church attendance. It's lower than Labor Day, Memorial Day, and even 4th of July. It says this is interesting, especially when you consider Mother's Day tend to be the day, it's the third highest service attendance, next to Easter and Christmas. So Mother's Day is one of the most highly attended Sundays of the year, and Father's Day is one of the lowest. What does this tell us? It goes on to say, clearly, mothers want to be present for the affirmation that is typically offered in most churches, but families are also present knowing their attendance will honor their mother. But the attendance difference between Mother's Day and Father's Day is telling. This survey says either churches are less effective in affirming fathers, or families believe Christian fathers don't value their participation in worship service. Listen, fathers. Surely there are other factors involved, including travel and the time of year. You see, Mother's Day is always when school is still in session. Father's Day is when school is out. So, this could be because they go traveling or something to that effect. But all these factors and statistics aside, here's what really is striking. It says when you see the research on the impact of dad's faith and practice on their families. So according to data collected by Promise Keepers and Baptist Press, if a father does not go to church, even if his wife does, only one child in 50 will become a regular worshiper. If a father does go regularly, regardless of what the mother does, between 2/3 and 3/4 of their children will attend church as adults. If a father attends church irregularly, between half and 2/3 of their kids will attend church with some regularity as adults. If a mother does not go to church, but a father does, a minimum of 2/3 of their children will end up attending church. In contrast, if a father does not go to church, but the mother does, an average 2/3 of the children will not attend church. Another study focused on Sunday school found similar results on the impact of fathers. When both parents attend Bible study in addition to Sunday service, listen to this, 72% of their children attend Sunday school when grown. When only the fathers attend Sunday school, 55% of the children attend when grown. When only mothers attend Sunday school, 15% of the children attend when grown. When neither parent attends Sunday school, only 6% of the children attend when grown. Are you catching on here? Another survey found that if a child is the first person in a household to become a Christian, there is a 3.5% possibility everyone else in a household will follow. If the mother is the first to become a Christian, there is a 17% possibility everyone in a household will follow. Here's the statistic I want you to hear, fathers. However, when the father is the first, there is a 93% possibility everyone else in the household will follow. Listen to me, fathers. You got a big say in what your family does. Dad's impact on a child's faith and practice is huge. So I encourage you, dads. And even Moses spoke In Deuteronomy 6 through 9, and these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. John Rittenberg says it this way. The brief description covers virtually every part of every day. God is saying that no matter what we do, no matter what we say, no matter what comes into our life, every day we should be reflecting the mind of God in our life, in our speech, and in our attitude. In addition to that, we must reinforce our example by teaching the children verbally. God is saying that everywhere that child looks, he should see examples of the way of God. Not only in the way we work, but in work itself. Fathers, you have a big responsibility. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Put it to you this way. Parents that treat the church as optional shouldn't be surprised when their children treat Jesus as unnecessary. In other words, today is Father's Day. Dads who treat the church as optional shouldn't be surprised when their children don't see God as necessary. The responsibility on a father is paramount to whether the child will come to church, whether the child will grow up in church, whether the child will attend church when they are old and out of the house. When a parent treats not just church, but prayer, worship, and giving as optional, that's how the child's going to do it. Proverbs 22:6, one translation says it this way. This is not a promise to a parent who raised their children properly, but a warning to those who allow their adolescents to grow up. You young parents, listen to me. You young fathers, listen to me. It's a warning to those who allow their adolescents to grow up without guidance. Can I say something? I don't care. I was going to say I don't care if I get in trouble, but this is how important it is. Church is important. You got to guide your kids, fathers, not just leave it to the mothers to do. It's your responsibility. You need to step in and help your wife. This place is the house of God, and we as parents need to show our kids how to treat it as a house of God. This is not a racetrack. This is not a playground. This place here is important. I'm just being a pastor, church. If they grow up without guidance, they will go their own way when they grow up. Children left their own way are not likely to change. They'll become adults and do what they want to do. Fathers, listen to me. I'm not saying my kids are perfect because they aren't. Your kids aren't perfect. We had a family in our church in Clinton who had 2 young girls. And I'm just going to throw this out there. It was rough inviting them over to the house because those 2 little girls tore up everything. The parents were there. The father was there. like this. You better step in, parents. Or today, fathers, you better step in. And you better control the kids. I'm sorry, but I feel this. We have to understand our responsibility, dads. Those kids are your responsibility. Their learning is your responsibility. The way they grow up is your responsibility. That's why the world is in such a turmoil now, because somebody, a father or a dad, didn't want to step up and take the responsibility. It's a rough job. I've had trouble with it. I've failed at times. Sorry, guys. But there's been times I'm not your I'm not your friend. You can be mad at me. Here, let me tell you this. They'll get mad at you. They'll hate your guts for about an hour or 2 hours. When they get older, it's a little longer. But you know what? You did your job. Wow. Not too many people know my email address. I'm telling you, church, fathers, we got to be careful. Proverbs 22:15 says, foolishness is abound in the hearts of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. They grow up, they don't know. They don't know what's going on. They're just going everywhere. That's your job. And here, listen to this. This isn't saying beat your child. The Word of God never says beat your child. It says the rod of correction. Here's what it's saying. It's like a shepherd who uses his rod to steer his sheep to where he wants them to go. He doesn't beat them. But he takes that rod and he's just steering those sheep to where he wants them to go. He's not whipping on them and beating them. And that's what it means. Father, that's your job. You're not to beat them, but you're to direct them. Once in a while, you might have to use a little extra persuasion. I'm going to throw this in for free. And it's got to be consistent. Don't expect your child after one time. I didn't. I wish it would work that way. I don't know why I'm doing this. Let's stand. Fathers, you got to understand something. Your responsibility. 70, what was that? That percentage of fathers, if they're involved in their children. 93%. 93% of children will be in church when their father is in church, when their father sees it's important to come to church, when their father sees it important to worship and give and support the church. That's showing their child. 93% will do it. But fathers, treat your kids to treat this place as important. Treat your kids that this book right here is the most important book that you can read. Teach your kids, fathers or dads, that prayer is the most important thing that you can have them do. That's our responsibility. I want to read something to you here, if I can find it. It says, it doesn't matter how much we strategize if we don't pray. It doesn't matter how many flyers we hand out if we don't pray. It doesn't matter how good our musicians are if we don't pray. It doesn't matter how good our church looks if we don't pray. We are called to be men and women of prayer. My point is, Father, you got to treat the church, you got to treat the Word of God, and you got to treat prayer like it's the most important thing in your life. Because your children are depending on you. 93%. Let that stick in your mind. 93% of children. Your job is important. Step in, step up, dads, and be a dad. Don't be a father, but be a dad. Love your kids, hug your kids, correct your kids. Get that rod out and steer them the way they should go. And when they're old,